Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this video, I'll show you how I made these simple, rocky ruin bases for my Untamed Beasts for Warcry. We're going to use the Heart Eater from the Untamed Beasts, and here you can see he's been primed already and then glued to the base. We've got some Citadel skulls, some gravel, some Coarse Flock, Fine Flock, and some really fine budgie sand from the pet shop. There's loads of ways to stick this on, but we're going to use some Gorilla wood glue today, and I'm just going to apply that with a toothpick. And then we're also going to be using some Army Painter winter tufts, and we'll be sticking them on with some Gorilla super glue. So here we go, I'm using that little toothpick just to pick up some of the wood glue and spread it on. I like to use this instead of PVA because it sets a lot quicker, and I also like the thickness of this glue, and I think it's got a little bit more control, so I really like it. So I'm just putting it on fairly thick and being quite generous, spreading it all over there. I don't mind if a little bit goes up onto that little piece of ruins there, and there you go, that's it, all over the base and spread all along. And then I'm just going to put in the little rocks or the little bits of gravel where I want those to be, and try and get that to complement that large piece of ruin there. And the idea with these Untamed Beasts is they hate civilization. They want to destroy any signs of civilization, any cities, towns, and so I want that to come across in their bases. And now I'm putting on the skulls as well. This guy's the main man, so he's getting quite a few skulls on the base. And you could use super glue for this, which is going to give you a quicker and stronger fix, I think. But I went with the wood glue just to see how it would work. And then while it's still wet, I'm sprinkling on just a little bit of that coarse flock. And there's a couple of different grades of flock here, just to give us the idea of rocks and stones. Because when we scale down to this level, then these aren't going to look like just little bits of sand. They're going to look like quite large rocks. And then finally, taking that budgie sand, that super fine budgie sand, that's going to go over the entire base. And that's going to fill in all the little gaps and cover all of that Gorilla wood glue and give it a little tap to get rid of the excess. And this is what we're looking for. Nice covering all over. And then I'm just going to take it out of the holder. And we just want to make sure that there's nothing on the edge there on the rim. So I'm just going to rub my thumb along and clean that up. So we don't want that to kind of stick. Just be careful there. Oops, I moved that a little bit, but that's okay. That's if we use super glue, obviously that would have set by now, wouldn't have happened. But I just wanted to try out this wood glue. It worked really well. But now we're going to take some Ceramite white and Abbaddon black, and I mix them together to make like a grey paint. And now all those components and that wood glue underneath are completely set solid. You know, I'd leave it an hour just to make sure it's really solid, and it depends on the temperature of the room as well. If it's cold, it might take a little bit longer. But now I'm going to give it all a nice generous coat of this paint, and I've wet it down just a little bit, just so it really gets in the gaps and filters in between those bits of flock and that budgie sand. It really goes into all the cracks and crevices and gives us a nice coat and a nice seal over the entire piece. Then I let that completely dry and took some contrast BASILICANUM grey, and then I gave that a coat over all the base except for the skulls. I was quite generous here. Tried to avoid the feet of the model as well, but this is going to go over all the base and also on the masonry, that part of ruined building that's fixed to the miniature. That's going to get a nice coat of this too. So going on quite heavy, giving it a nice even coat all over, and this is going to be the foundation for our base colour. Then once that was completely dry again, we took some layer paint, some Pallid witch flesh, and I'm just giving the skull a nice coat of this, ready for when we put the contrast paint over the top. So a nice coat, making sure that's all covered, and then trying not to go over that BASILICANUM grey, and give that a nice coat, and then we'll let that dry, and then we'll move on to the next stage, which is to take some contrast skeleton horde, and then we'll give that a nice generous coat. And I put this on quite thick. This dries nice and kind of pale, but we really want it to go into the crevices, those eye sockets, in amongst the teeth, and give us a nice dark recess there. So I put it on quite heavy and guide it around, and if it's pooling too much on the top, we can use our brush to wick that away and just push it and pull it to where we want it to go. And so we're going to do both of those skulls, giving them both a nice thick coat of this skeleton horde. Now once that's dried, we're going to take some Vallejo Sky Grey 0.989. I just pop a little bit on the card. I grab my very vegan makeup brush. This has got super fine soft bristles, and I'm just loading that up. You can see how much paint I've put on there on the bristles, and I'm working it into the bristles using the cardboard, and this is going to help dry out that brush and give us a nice dry brush effect. And just to be sure, I use a bit of kitchen roll, test it on my hand, and then I'm going to start going over all the base, trying to avoid the skull. If a little bit goes on, it doesn't really matter, but I'm trying to avoid it as best I can. And then I'm giving this a nice coat. I go quite gentle at first, just so I know exactly how much paint's going to come off. Then when I'm confident, I can really go for it and get stuck in and give that a nice coat over the top. And you can see why I haven't painted the model before I've done this, because we would end up getting little bits on the feet and maybe even on the cloak. And sometimes that works. You know, you might want this to go over, like I did with the Legions of Nagash with the Necromancer. I wanted that kind of dusty effect, so that worked out. But for this, I want to do the base first, then I can touch up any areas I go over by mistake. And so there we go. Once we've done that, you can see here, I've done exactly the same thing on the Rockdux Prowler, with a couple of tufts stuck on for good measure. We're all finished, and that's all our Untamed Beasts now, fully based and ready for war. So these were really quick and simple bases, and I think they work out really well with a few of those tufts and a few of the Citadel skulls. I think you can get a nice quick effect to get you tabletop ready really fast. And I think this kind of method really suited this warband with their narrative of kind of destroying and taking down civilization, leaving it in ruin, and I think that worked out really well. And these were brilliant miniatures to paint. I really had fun using all the natural colours with these, and you'll be able to find videos on the channel for the Rockdux Prowler, where I show you how I painted it step by step, and also for the Heart Eater, and these methods you can use for all the miniatures that come with the Untamed Beasts. I'll put links to everything we used in the video in the description below, and there'll be affiliate links to Element Games, and it won't cost you anything extra with those affiliate links. In fact, it could save you up to 20% on all your game products there, and for every sale made through link, I get a small commission, and that helps me develop the channel and create loads more videos like this. So thanks so much for that support. I really appreciate it. If you like this kind of content and would like to support the channel, then please check out my Patreon page, and thanks to everyone who's joined so far. It's really awesome. We hang out on Discord, talk about the hobby, share ideas and help each other out, and you'll get some perks there that you're not going to find anywhere else. So I'll put a link in the description, and it'll be great to see you there. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. I think this is a great way to get some really quick tabletop ready miniatures based and on the table ready for battle. So thanks so much for watching. Please like if you like it, subscribe for more videos like this, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to join me next time on Tabletop Skirmish Games.